Mm. The Dual Screens Cross-Play Podcasts. That's right, folks. You're here, and I'm stalling because the intro is not quite over yet. But it should automatically transition, and it didn't because this whole thing sucks. Welcome, everybody. It's me. It's Steven Fontana with me. As always, he's over there. He's Andy Asimakis. How are you, Andy?
That was so good watching you bop your head and dance to a song I could not hear on my end.
You love to see it.
It was like the song's in his head.
Yes, the song is in my head. You didn't catch it. You didn't have
the
it.
Voices are singing that song in his head again.
That is true. That is true. And with us here is we are the presumed 5-time Guinness World Record video game record holder of records. He's Kory. He's the grounded gamer, and he's here to say hello. Hello, Kory. How are you?
Not too bad. I mean, got some sleep finally. So
yeah,
actual normal days of sleep. And then pretty much I'm now trying to get out of not sleeping 18 hours a day. So
yeah. So, all right, just real quickly. Last week, if you watched the show, you saw that we were watching Kory while he was in the middle of this thing. He was about 40 hours, I want to say, into it, I believe. Something like that. When we recorded last week's show on my channel, and then we put it up on the interwebs for all to see. But Kory, you did quite a few hours here in the video game escape. Why don't you tell everybody what the hell happened? And what did you break? What records did you break?
I mean, we did 100 in the end. We did 145 hours and 29 minutes and some odd seconds of playing straight nothing but Call of Duty Warzone. Which was so much fun. I can't express the excitement that I had, especially near that middle part where around the 32-hour mark where Activision added this nice brand new Vanguard train map into without my surprise. What a surprise that was. If you guys want to hear the responses, you could go look at the video for that one.
Such rage.
So I've never been more frightened and felt so bad for a person than at that moment, because I had known how you were at like the 70-something hour mark at that point, I think.
No, I was actually at the 32-hour mark.
Oh, that was
the
32.
worst part about it. That was the worst part about it is that it came in at the point where basically when that hit, we hadn't got nothing yet. We hadn't completed any records, and I was so at the point where I'm like, okay, this sucks, because if this all of a sudden screws up the records, either A, I'm going to have to let Guinness know, like, that portion, just take it right out. Just like count it as a sleep for me. Just count it as a break. Like, just take it right out. I don't care. Like,
oh no.
But at that point we had gotten nothing. So to have this random event peer up, and then not only that, it start crashing right off the bat. And I'm sitting there going, oh no. Here comes the time, like last time they had an event like this, where all of a sudden it's just going to crash for the next 4 hours. And I even told Andy, I'm like, should I just go to sleep now? Like, should I just take a nap? Should I just go to sleep and then hope I wake up to regular playlists?
Wow, that's a little morbid. Before we get into the nitty gritty, before we get really deep into the weeds here, folks, if you are listening or watching for the very first time, this is the Dual Screens Crossplay Podcast, the internet's #1 gaming news podcast starring 2 dudes, now 3, that you've never heard of, probably. The show posts each and every week on your favorite podcast service of choice, including our home, podbean.com. You could also find us in a video on demand form at youtube.com/dualscreens.tv. And of course, we record live every Tuesday, sometimes Wednesday, or sometimes on my channel, depending if Kory's trying to break a world record, which apparently he's going to try and do every month. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Right.
You could go and follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/dualscreenstreams. And if you want to support us with your hard-earned cash dollar bills, you can literally do so for $1 at patreon.com/NDS podcast. Just like our Patreon producers, Colton the Apprentice Nestler, FNH Paul, and Vegas Girl on Fire. We can't continue to grow without all of your support, so we want to thank you so very much for doing that. Now, the whole adventures in gaming, we'll get to that in a minute. Kory, so the first record that you were trying to beat, funny story, it was beaten before you could beat it.
Oh yeah, no, I heard about that. That basically someone was going, and here's the thing. This is what I've been like when I did this record originally, and we had a lot of people come out to me when I actually posted about doing this record, and a lot of people, I showed Andy a lot of the comments that I was getting on my news, basically a news article that they did about me, where a lot of people were like, "Oh, this has been done before. A lot of people have done this. Like it's not unheard of." Da 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 da. And it's a big thing where really, it's come to a point where a lot of people I think are just doing it and then not realizing it's a record until after it's done, because it wasn't until after, I think it was someone was going for, I think, what was it, from 0 to master in Apex as fast as they humanly could. And I think it took them 52 hours. And so that's where it was 52 hours of straight playing. So while we're doing our record, they started on the 18th or 16th or something like that. So a day after we had already started. So someone had already done it before that. And then someone tried to do it again and beat that record starting the 18th. So we were having 2-3 people try this record midway through us doing this record. And they were doing it just out of spite to just say, I went from rank nothing to master as quickly as humanly possible. Whereas I was going, I'm going to beat the record that's set at 36 hours or whatever it was at the time. And that's where it's a crazy world that, yeah, there's a lot of people that do this kind of, especially 36 hours to 50 hours worth of gameplay with no sleep. That's not unheard of. A lot of people do it. There's a reason why, like we were saying before, there's going to be lots of records I'm going to be attempting doing it, because there's a lot of records that I look at back and I'm like, oh, hey, playing Final Fantasy games for 36 hours straight, that seems kind of low. But you know, it's just crazy to me. And so it was quite a journey doing this. And then all of a sudden we're doing it, we're hearing other people are doing the records. And then we had the whole catastrophe midway with the changing of playlists. You know, we found out that Zoom loves to cut off your stream at 24 hours, wasn't it, Andy? And then not only
24
that,
and change, yeah.
And then takes 9 hours to convert the video.
It took like the last one 12 hours to convert video.
Which the first time it didn't take that long.
No, not long
and
at
then,
all.
Yeah, and then after that, it just started taking longer and longer. So like what I just finished today, which just went, or finished yesterday, which just went live today. Another post interview of the record itself, and it was funny they asked me, you know, what was the most toughest thing about doing this? And I'm like, it was everything that had nothing to do with playing the game. It was literally the hardest part about doing this record. It would be like Andy probably knows, where his phone would light up at like 3:00 in the morning as I'm trying to get a hold of him while I'm trying to play Warzone, because
time
Zoom,
difference there.
the Zoom goes down and like my stream's crashed or something's gone on, and I'm trying to fix it.
That was the other thing. It every 48 hours, Twitch refreshes the stream. So like you would go offline and back online in like 2 seconds. But that's so that the VODs aren't more than 48 hours, which is just a weird arbitrary cutoff. But all told, like, yeah, these people are playing 52, 56, whatever hours, but you obliterated that.
Oh yeah, well I did 100. We figured it out in the end because we had one of our fans help us out, Levi Thomas, and he figured out in the end, out of 145 and a half hours that I totally did this record, I only slept 11 and a half hours. So even if you look at it from the fact of doing this crazy record and being able to sleep, the idea that I still only slept basically less than 12 hours, less than most people's normal 2 days worth of sleeping, let alone, you know, 6 days worth of sleeping in this entire period, was quite a peak on its own. So that was a huge step. And it was like, literally, I remember we stopped at 1:45:30. I was like, okay, I'm going to go eat some chicken nuggets. I put them in the microwave. I was downloading Ghosts because I was like, I'll play that for a bit before I go to bed. I put the microwave at 1:30. I sat down on the couch, laid back. As soon as I laid back, I was out. I didn't even hear the microwave finish.
Your house could have been
came
on fire.
Kathy came home, wakes me up on the couch. I'm like, oh yeah, I got nuggets in the fridge, and then from there I went to bed and slept for another 18 hours. So it was one heck of a experience to do that for sure.
So go over the records that you believe you have right now. Pending review.
Yeah, pending review. If everything goes to where we speculated, and with the calculations we did, we should have the longest time playing a battle royale. We should have the longest time playing a first-person shooter. We should have the longest time playing a Call of Duty game. And then we should also have the longest time playing any game overall, marathon-wise. And with that, all those records, by the time we calculated it, because any unused breaks that I didn't use then get slotted onto the end, we should be over 150 hours by the time we're all said and done. So we obliterated all the previous records by
almost 3 times.
The battle royale record was 38 hours. So we obliterated that one for sure. And then the other records.
That's something I want to point out here, folks. Like Andy helped. He was like the timekeeper. He was the whatever. I rated him at every chance that I could. But make no mistake about it, Kory's the one who suffered. Kory did all of this. Like Kory did it, okay? And there is no we here. Now, it's weird that you wanted, I still think it's weird that you wanted to do this on Dual Screen's channel and not your own thing for your own fame and glory. But I digress. That's a conversation for another day. But speaking of conversations, this is a conversational podcast about the video game news and what the hell we've been playing. We know what you've been playing, Kory. Ghost of Tsushima and Call of Duty. But Andy, it's now time to get into everybody's favorite current t-shirt that you could buy right now on teespring.com/dualscreens merch or whatever the hell it is. Anyway, just go to our website. It's there. The Adventures in Gaming. Andy, what have you been playing?
Yes. I've been playing a lot of shit. I've been playing a lot of early access Steam stuff.
Okay.
Alpha
That's
demos of future interviews
I like
for the podcast.
Oh, here we go. Yep. That's what I like to hear.
You know what's a fun fact, Steven, before I get to what I've been playing lately?
That male seahorses carry the offspring.
Yes, they do. That's a really fun fact. Yes.
Yeah.
We have 12 interviews booked between now and like mid-September.
I'm scared.
It's a lot.
I'm scared, you guys.
And people to talk about.
I am scared.
But one of those games
is
a little cute game called Bear and Breakfast.
Yes, I love this game. Yes.
Where it's a game where you play as a bear that runs a bed and breakfast.
I'm so excited.
And it's adorable.
I'm so excited.
And it's amazing. And it's cute.
I can't. I want to play that one. That looks dope.
Yes.
This is exciting, man. A lot of interviews coming up.
Yeah, I've been busy booking stuff and talking to people and just getting.
I've been trying to sandbag one interview, but it looks like that's the one we're gonna get.
You really have been.
We nailed that one.
Like, the Twitter that we both share, we have access to, and it's just that. Oh, you're just replying now while I'm talking to a person about serious shit. Another game I've been playing.
Wait, can we tell that story? Because I think that's great.
Oh, good. All right, so. I was talking to some. Yeah, you go.
You set up how the conversation started, and I'll just let you know when I came in.
Typically, my process is when I'm hunting down developers, I go to the website, and there's no contact information. I go Twitter.
Social media for the
little envelope DM thing is open. I am so DMing you.
He is sliding in there real good.
I give my pitch. I saw your game, played the demo. It looks fun. I like scary shit. Your game is scary. It's also like PS1 graphics. Like it's tickling all the nipples. This
is specific to these developers.
This is a very Andy looking game.
Right.
So I was all right. Here's what we do. Here's our podcast. You want to come on? He's like, yeah, sure. We'll set up a time. And then Steven.
No. He said he says ask what time zone he's in.
Yes, and he's in the British. He's in the UK time.
Greenwich Mountain Time, I believe, is the proper term. To which I replied, Again, he has no context and no conversations with me at all.
He's talking to a singular human being at this point.
Does not understand that the dual means two.
And not a schizophrenic. But go on.
And I wrote,
multiple personality disorder.
I wrote, oh, that's cool. We're in the time zone that won the war.
And then he went on about being salty about us dumping their tea in the ocean.
Yes.
And you were like, but our fish are tasty now.
Right.
And then there was about microwaving tea.
Right.
And I was just like, I just want to schedule this so I can move on with my day.
Let's just put it this way. They like us a little bit more now.
Right.
Just a little bit more. We gave them the personality. It was all business. It was all business until Steve came in like a goddamn wrecking ball. What else you playing, Andy? Anything else you want to talk about?
Yes, Tales of Iron.
Tales of Iron. This was on my list too, but it must have slipped through the cracks, or I didn't get my code, or what. I don't know.
So this game, it's not out yet. It's coming out soon.
Okay.
You play as a mouse.
Yes.
That wages war against frogs. Frogs are like apparently evil in this world.
They are evil in this world.
The main mouse is voiced by the star of the Witcher series.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird seeing Geralt's voice coming out of a mouse fighting frogs.
It's over.
And they're also coming on the show.
Oh, yay.
Nice. And it's going to be like, how did you convince this man to play as a mouse? Yeah.
Money is the answer to that question.
He loves video games and then money.
Right. So it's like a little 2D side-scrolling Dark Souls type of game. A lot of fun. And I also played, I'm still on the Metal Gear Solid replay kick.
Yeah.
I am like halfway-ish through Metal Gear Solid 4.
Ooh.
I'm at that part when you go back to Shadow Moses.
Yeah.
And the old soundtrack kicks in.
Yeah.
I was crying like a baby.
It makes you cry.
It just hit me. It hit me. It's like, it's an emotional gut punch. When you feel like the best is yet to comes up and you're like, and that fucking flute kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like all the MGS1 feels come back.
Mm. I can still smell the book that Metal Gear Solid came with. Is that weird?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, it's not weird at all.
Do you have the special edition Metal Gear Solid 4 for PS3?
I did.
The one that came with the Blu-ray thing?
I did.
Did you watch that? The DVDs?
I did.
It's really good.
It is really good.
It's really, really good.
Man,
all right, that's enough of you. I don't want to hear you speak anymore.
Good. Done.
Corey, is there anything else you've been playing besides the back of your eyelids?
No, that's pretty much it. The only other thing is like I finally got a chance to look at the PlayStation Store, because that was the worst part about everything. Was for those people that don't know, we had a special Discord chat just for our witnesses and for people that were helping me stay awake and things like that. And so Joe, Mr. TMNT, decided it would be great to pop on to the Discord and be like, hey, Corey, have you heard this news? Have you heard this news? Have you seen this video? And I'm like, I'm like doing this world record. I can do nothing but Warzone. No, obviously I haven't. So like all this gaming news have come out, all these like, what was it? What if from Marvel, Avengers and all this stuff. And I'm like, I have yet to see any of this. He's like, oh, what about the Tales of Rise demo? You played that yet? What do you think? What do you see what I'm playing right now?
Is he just the most oblivious person on earth?
It's free right now if you log on to fucking PSN and download it.
Oh, I know.
In the middle of your match.
Yeah, I've wanted to, like, there's so many things that I want to try out. The only thing I've got to so far is I went through the store and see. I always like to see what the new wish list is, all the new stuff that they've announced, but we don't know. And to the greatest, the gaming lords have ended up, they're coming out with a Cat Lateral Damage remastered. I don't know if anybody knew about this. I mean, yeah, I didn't know about this. I just saw it pop up and I'm like, yes, please add that to my wish list. Like, what a great game.
Gentlemen,
that is it.
I have done a thing.
What'd you do?
I played a MOBA.
Oh, shit.
It was.
Oh, yeah, no, sorry, I played
MOBA.
that too.
Yes, you did play with us.
I remember.
I did play Pokemon Unite.
Oh boy.
I played a MOBA for the first time.
That was your first one,
And
really?
yes. I mean,
No League,
there
no
was
Heroes of
one.
the Storm.
There was
ever
one
in your
time
entire
I
life?
tried to get into a Heroes of the Storm match, and couldn't, and I just deleted it.
Wow.
Now, I was just trying to, try something new, But
Mhm.
Pokemon Unite is a hard game for people who don't know how to play MOBAs.
Mm-hmm.
I will just say that. I was riding the struggle bus hard, but I could see, first of all, the gacha mechanics are really annoying. Really annoying. Battle
Well,
pass this, buy
You need
this,
that in a
cosmetics
game like
that,
Mhm.
unlock the Pokemon here and there and everywhere. That's annoying. I don't like that.
Well,
But the game's
they
fun.
also, yeah, I was gonna say they also had a one of the YouTube channels I follow. He also followed that there's an actual, sadly, there is a pay to win system into
Yes.
the Pokemon
Oh
where
yeah.
the items you get, you can get like these little I like it's like a
There's
headband.
there's held
Yeah.
items that you can unlock 3 of, and then there's consumable items that you can hold.
And
as well.
those items though you can upgrade, and
Mhm.
if you put enough money into the game, you can have them maxed out right at the beginning. And sadly, that's kind of where I've seen a lot of people move to. And like, even when I was playing with you, Steve, like I played this when it first came out and I was just dominating. I was like dominating servers. And then when I played with you, we were just getting wrecked. Like I'm like, I'm a Charizard.
We were
I'm
losing
only
like 800 to 200. Like it was bad.
No. It was bad. And then it was weird to me. It was like, okay, I've played League long enough to know, okay, if I'm going against someone that's a couple levels different, and I might, it's gonna be quite a battle as it is, but I'm not gonna get dominated. And we were having matches where like literally we'd have one guy, me and Steve would be both. I'm like, okay, Steve's beside me. It's only one guy. We got this. He's only 2 levels above me and Steve, and he would just come in and just dominate both of us, and we would just get wrecked.
Just
and I'm like,
disappear.
what's going on?
okay.
Like, how did Steve get 3 hit? What's going on? Steve's dead. I'm by myself. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
it was interesting. Speaking of interesting, I don't know what it is, but a survival game has finally gotten its hooks in me, Andy. Now, remember I liked Grounded a little bit,
You did.
but Valheim has its hooks in me a little bit.
Wow.
oh, Valheim's great. I love Valheim.
Now,
Wow.
it's kind of dry. It's a little boring.
Full of surprises today, Steve. Say.
But I played it for the first time last week. I believe that was on Thursday last week. And what my beautiful friends have done is they created a private server that we can log in at any time, but I'm playing with like 10 friends. So it's our little world that we've created. And it gives me the vibes of an MMO, but without the bullshit. Without the fetch quests.
Right.
Without the
Okay.
nonsense.
All right.
But the moment to moment like combat part of it, I feel like is pretty dumb. But I really like the little world we're building, the little village we're building, and the exploration and this, that, and the other thing. There are like bosses that you can kill and like I guess progress some form of story, but like I could not. If you paid me, I couldn't care about any of that. I'm just going around chopping trees, gathering resources, killing skeletons, and like having a good old time. You know what I mean?
As you should. As you should.
I think that's the big way I've seen a lot of people play that game is it's all about the private server and more or less like I've seen more people build worlds and enjoy it that way than I have like I've beaten the entire story. I've done the story so far. I've killed all the bosses. And I can tell you right now, that is one hell of a grind. I wish on no one. And I was lucky enough. I had friends that were way more obsessed about the game than I was. So they would be like, okay, we grinded for the last 7 hours while we were gone. So we've got enough like iron ore to build an iron suit when you get back and stuff like that. But like, it is a very punishing game. Especially when you look at this, the way they did stats was really interesting because it plays like Oblivion, where as you do certain things, then you gain those stats like wood chopping and one-handed combat,
Jumping.
two-handed combat, jumping. All those have stats. But if you die, you lose, I think it's something like 15% of each one of those stats. So that doesn't sound like a lot. But when you die and you lose all your gear on your body, that's now sitting on top of a mountain covered by wolves, and guess what? It's the only gear that you have. You're now main goal for your next life is to try to go get that with no gear. Now, the odds of you doing that is very unlikely. So without friends at that point, you're now losing 2 to 3 to 4 levels, and then you're back to that grind to try to get those stats back up. And that's where I found the hardest part about playing.
I didn't even know you lose stats, because I've always gotten my body back or whatever. Yeah. I've always gotten my stuff back, but I've never really even thought about that. But we need to move on, so we're going to move on, all right? Both of you, pay attention here. We have the indie news update, Andy. Now, I feel like your entire segment of what you've been playing was the indie news update, but we have some news here, Andy. Hit us up.
Friends of the show, former guest of ours on the PAX East side, I want to say maybe 2 years ago.
Before the end times, yes.
Yes. A little game known as Ember is releasing on September 21st for console and PC. Now, this is a game where it is like Crazy Taxi, but instead of driving the taxi, you are putting out fires and getting paid for it.
Yep.
And the best way to describe this game is there's a link now in the chat, and also for those who are not on this live, youtube.com/dual-screens-tv is me playing the game at PAX East and failing at it miserably. I think I killed an old man while I was playing that game.
There's no, it's literally, you have the most ridiculous tools at your disposal.
Right.
You have to rescue people that have like the most ridiculous physics. You could chuck them out of windows, but try and make them land on trampolines. If you miss and they die, oh well. You get paid based on how well you could put out the fire, like less property damage, more people rescued.
And the fire didn't kill them, so
yeah.
They're still good.
Exactly.
So is this more like a simulation, or is it more of like a kind of
arcade? It's an arcadey bullshit game.
Yeah, okay.
It's so
sounds
much
like
fun.
more like it sounds like more like moving out putting
but
out
in first person and putting out fires and picking up like an old lady and chucking her out the window and watching her.
You get calls on your phone for like, there's a fire here, there's a fire there.
Yeah.
Will you take the job, XYZ?
Yeah.
And also another friend of the show, Splitgate. At midnight. The Splitgate servers will go offline until noon
Pacific time.
But tomorrow, the true Splitgate experience begins.
What does it mean, Andy?
Whatever that's supposed to mean.
What does it mean?
I don't know. I really, truly don't know.
Oh my gosh.
But seeing that game.
Could it be season 1? Could season 1 be finally dropping?
Such success, such like it's in the headlines. I love seeing it. And they're at Gamescom tomorrow too, which is great. They're part of it. So they've come a long way. Those boys at 1047 games. And I wish them all the success.
Sexy is what it is.
So goddamn good.
All right. Now it's time to get into the Dual Screens report. I'm going to take the first story here. Andy, did you make a story or did you just put these in there?
Oh, they're there.
Okay, good. Because I want to talk about cloud gaming.
Sure, go ahead.
All right, so Xbox. We got a little Xbox news to start off the thing there. A little green for your day. Xbox, the cloud, Series X and S, and Xbox One. It's here. It's coming to the Series X consoles. Here we go. Today during the Gamescom Xbox stream, we revealed we're bringing cloud gaming to the Xbox Series X, S, and Xbox One this holiday. So this holiday, it's coming out, Andy. With the ability to play games before you install, it'll be easier than ever for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members too. And here's some bullet points. Discover and play over 100 high-quality games in the Xbox Game Pass library without having to use valuable storage space. Very muy importante. Or wait for installs. Quickly jump into the fun with your friends in multiplayer games like Sea of Thieves as soon as you get the invite, so you could set sail without having to wait for an install. That is humongo, because my Series X is my free game / Game Pass machine. That's what I use it for. And when a friend says, "Hey, let's try out Sea of Thieves," I'm like, "Okay, let me tell my Xbox to download it, and I'll see you in 4 hours." Now I don't have to do that. I could be like, yes, I mean invite, and then right in there in the cloud. You know what I mean? The holidays can't get here fast enough. Play Gen 9 only Xbox games such as Microsoft Flight Simulator and The Medium on your Xbox One via the cloud. That's right. Series exclusive content, which they said wouldn't be coming for years. is already here, but you can
Mhm.
play it via the cloud. Pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty amazing. You love to see it.
I
Thoughts on the
may have
cloud?
I may have to dig up my Xbox One, which I never actually ever turned on in its entire lifetime.
Wow. It's amazing.
So my Xbox One was given to me, bestowed upon me
Oh.
by a friend of mine who did like these console dissection videos like years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I put it back together because he bought it just for the video. He was like, I'm gonna toss it in the trash. I was like, I'll take it. I'll just rebuild it. Rebuilt it, worked fine. I was like, great, I got a free Xbox One now. Never touched it after that.
Now, is
So
this just a vanilla Xbox One?
Vanilla OG Xbox. I would say it's like
Okay.
maybe launch edition
Okay, all right,
Xbox
yeah,
One.
sure.
Oh wow.
Sure.
So I may fire it up if I have all the appropriate cables and see what I can do with it and test
Why
this
not?
whole cloud gaming thing.
Yeah.
In 1080p and 60 FPS, it's pretty good for cloud,
Mm.
I must say.
Let's get.
Did they
Let's.
did they
go
say
ahead,
anything
Corey.
about the mobile? Because I know they were going to talk about mobile. I guess that's later date now.
We could. Isn't that out now? I couldn't. I mean, I've been playing.
I
I've
can't
done
remember.
I've done it on my Kishi. I've streamed games to my Kishi.
You know what I was also
my
shocked
phone.
by?
What?
Game Pass, it says play over 100 high quality games or 100 plus high quality games. Is that how little the library is on Game Pass?
No, that's the streamable
Or
ones.
just the
No,
ones
that's the
you can
streamable.
stream?
So they have
Okay.
there's 4 lists now, Andy.
Got
So there's your
Oh,
there's
there's
your
4
cloud
lists.
there's your cloud list, there's
Cloud
your PC
list.
only list, then there's
PC
your
only.
ultimate list, and then
Ultimate
there's your
list.
base list.
Baseless. Got it.
Lots of lists.
Gotta make those notes.
Yes, mobile has been out for quite a while now.
Oh,
Make
okay.
them
Okay.
notes.
Okay. Let's stick with the Xbox here, Andy, because we had, sticking with the Gamescom situation.
Oh yeah.
Andy, why don't you take this one?
So big splash at Gamescom today, through Xbox. A lot of stuff was announced. I'm not gonna bore you with all the details about there's a Wasteland 3 DLC coming out. There's, State of Decay 2 Homecoming update coming out.
Whoa.
Flight Simulator
Hold on a second.
update, CFDs update. That's all fine and dandy. That's all great. But I think the biggest thing, and Forza looks awesome, by the way, out in November.
State of Decay, not State of Decay. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I
That's-
thought you were talking about something else. Go ahead.
That's all good. But I think the biggest thing at this from the entire streaming event was their Humble Games partnership.
Mm-hmm.
There were like an
Huge.
entire slate of games
Mhm.
day one on Game Pass. Archvale, Bushiden, which is like the most Andy game that ever Andy'd ever. It's like side scrolly sprite ninja shit. Chinatown Detective Agency, Dodgeball Academia, Flynn, Son of Crimson, another Andy game.
That game looks dope.
Midnight, Flight Express, Next Space Rebels, Signalis. Ooh, it's a survival horror game.
Ooh.
Friends of the Show, Unpacking,
Yep.
and Unsighted. That's a lot.
Yep.
All coming day one
Day one.
to Game Pass.
It looks like it look. Now I don't want to say it, and I don't want to say it too loudly.
Mhm.
But remember when they said we don't look at, PlayStation was like, we don't look at Xbox's competition. Xbox was like, we don't look at these people's competition. It looks like they
Mhm.
might be trying to steal Nintendo Switch's lunch.
Because those are all Switch titles, weren't they?
Being
Yeah.
the new indie place, you know what
Well,
I mean?
a lot of these games,
And
I
if you could
think.
play it on your phone,
now-
ooh,
Here's where I'm torn about a lot of this stuff. Is
be torn.
a huge chunk of these games, I want to say Archvale, Bushiden, Dodgeball Academia, Flynn, Signalis, Unpacking, maybe. That's it. I will definitely be buying these with my money
I
on
see.
either the Switch
I see.
or PS5 because these are
understandable.
like, I know these devs. I want to support these devs. I want to buy this shit, have it go right in their pocket. And that's like the Game Pass conundrum. Do I play this shit on the service that I pay for every single month? Because I'm a part of that platform, or do I want to pay the developer directly? So it's a weird situation. I feel like this is all great for those who play Game Pass. I want to spend extra money on these games, but I will be buying these games on my own for most likely the Switch.
Mm.
But to your point, yeah, I feel like most folks who would buy them on the Switch are like, fuck that, let's play them on Xbox now. or
or
the PC
just
or my phone.
stream it to my phone or whatever.
Right.
Whatever. Maybe they're probably not going to be cloud, but whatever. I digress. You know what really excited me? Like really, really excited me was the Dying Light 2 little gameplay.
I think I missed that chunk. It
was in the very beginning of the show. And they showed like the parkour combat and everything. I didn't play Dying Light, the first one. Like I never played it.
What a great game.
But
great
man,
game.
seeing this in action, I was like, holy shit, this is what Mirror's Edge was supposed to be. Like just running, swinging, just all this crazy shit. But then like
fun.
The combat looked like it looked like it took like Skyrim whatever and like turned it up to 11 and made it fast, visceral. It was like Ghost Runner in a way. Looks really good. I might have to play Dying Light now because if it's even half as good as what they showed, I feel like that's a game that I missed that I really shouldn't have because that seems right up my alley.
Did you catch any of this, Kory? Any of the
no, I was sleeping.
Today? Okay, got it.
I'll be honest. I woke up and I was like a little. I don't know if it was under the weather. My body still wanted to recover, but
you could respond to this then. I think out of all this that happened today at the stream, there was a very noticeable lacking of a Halo Infinite anything. No release date.
Shocker. It's almost like it was going to be delayed again, like they suspected. And I love the direction of what Xbox is doing. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they've made a real big amount of like good steps forward from what Xbox used to be, especially when we talk about 360 Xbox or the original Xbox era. They're actually more supporting a lot more developers than they used to, where they used to just buy licenses. It is a worrisome though, where now it seems like they've more switched to supporting outside developers a lot more and not supporting their own. And it's really worrying me when the main titles that I'm an Xbox guy where I love the core Xbox games. I've loved the Fable. I love the Halo. Like I always buy an Xbox for those games. And that's the reason why I've never bought an Xbox One is because they never really had those titles come out other than Halo, which I played at my brother's place. And so it kind of worries me when we're seeing like Halo, the game that should have been a launch title, the game that is supposed to come out this year holiday, and now we're hearing rumors that we're not going to see the multiplayer might be delayed from holiday. We're seeing that there's not going to be co-op right off the bat. There's not going to be Forge right off the back. We don't know when the story mode's coming out. It really makes me worried if they're really more focused on trying to push the Bethesda / third-party studios that they own ahead of that to try to like put the spotlight on them so that no one pays attention to the other studios like the Fable and Halo that is magically just went under the radar. But I'm really hoping that we start to see stuff from there because in all honesty, that's what I'm excited for. That's the thing that will make me buy Game Pass. You've put Fable out and you put the new Halo out, I will buy Game Pass in order to play those. Whereas the Bethesda games and stuff, I know those are down the road. They're quite a reason away. So I'm not really in a rush to buy Game Pass at all. So
yeah, I don't know much about the rumor and innuendo regarding any more future delays. I just know that there have been rumors that a release date's coming soon. I don't know how true that is. I don't typically think they ever used Gamescom to really show big stuff like that. Like it's usually like a
it's always seemed like an afterthought.
Yeah, they like it's a targeted type of marketing. They look at it as marketing, not an announcement.
Yeah, I've always Gamescoms. I think like when you look at the way the last usually because usually it follows the good old system where it seems like Sony always targets the opposite with every conference, and it seems like they always kind of do a push back and forth. So Nintendo and Sony always seem to make like a Tokyo Game Show their big show, so that Gamescom's always that one that kind of gets a lot of announcements and a lot of showing and a lot of like big developers, but I think it's more stuff than big things with Gamescom. It's always kind of been it's here's 1,000 games for you, not here's the 2 big games that we're going to show. Here's 1,000 games instead, right?
Right.
So It'll be
Speaking of-
Tokyo Game Show, I think, is going to be the interesting one. I think that's going to be a big interesting one this year.
Especially since they're trying to increase their presence in that market.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one I'll see. If we see Xbox do any big announcements, it'll be a total. And same with Sony. It shocks me that we still have yet to see anything from Sony. It's kind of worrying me now, but what can I say?
Yeah, it's just not. It's very weird. Like the pattern is just.
It's disappeared.
Yeah, nothing
weird.
is predictable anymore. It's all everyone goes by their own beat of their own.
You know
drum,
what
it
is
seems
predictable,
like.
Andy?
What, Steven?
I'll tell you what's predictable. Sony just sells video games, man. They just sell games. They come out. They may not have anything that we know about right now, but man, when they put out a video game, it is selling like hotcakes, Andy.
I know.
Ain't that
We're all
right?
suckers for the director's cuts of these new games that are coming out.
PS5 is dominating the boxed charts led by Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut in the UK. Talk about it. Tell me.
You know what's more surprising about this, Steven? That Madden NFL 2022 debuted at number 19 on the charts.
Not surprising. Football season's about to start.
Why
We're in preseason.
shouldn't that be a little bit higher?
No.
I'm not a sports
Not
guy.
in the
No,
UK.
'cause it's not a
Not
new
in the
game.
UK.
And it's not.
And it's not.
the
It's
new
not
game.
FIFA. If it was
Yeah.
FIFA, it would be different. If,
Yeah.
if FIFA came out and was 19th on the charts, then I would
Wait,
be
Madden.
super
Wait,
worried.
this isn't the new Madden, right? Did that come out?
This is the
I don't
this is the new
know.
Madden. This is
Oh
the
my
Madden.
god!
Madden.
I
It's
can't
the new
believe we're
Madden.
almost in September.
That's what I'm saying.
How did this
It's
float past me?
the new Madden.
I have not cared about Madden for so long, but like usually I know when that it's COVID. That's what it is. Because usually
Well,
there's
this
like
is the first next gen Madden too. That's the other thing
Yeah.
that shocks me is this is the first
Yeah.
true this is the one that was built for next gen, and that's what scares me is that when we're
you're a
seeing
very
numbers
scared
like
person lately.
yeah, well when we're seeing the numbers that come out right now, it's interesting. It kind of like I think Ghost Director's Cut kind of showed that people are willing to buy next gen content when it's locked to next gen because. Like, what was the numbers, Andy? I know you had it down of what numbers
Right,
were
so
broken down of what
these
PS4 and
are-
PS5, right?
These are specifically for, again, these are boxed physical games, not digital. So these aren't someone upgrading from their existing Ghost to the next gen. This is like someone buying it for the first time in a physical box form or a second time if they want to. 91% of sales are on PS5 and the rest on PS4. So this kind of means that there was a huge PS5 dump in the UK because we saw a huge spike in Ratchet and Clank also, a 105% increase, and it rose 8 spots in the ranking to number 2, and Spider-Man Miles Morales from number 12 to up to number 3. So I'm thinking, see, people are waiting to get the PS5 in their hands before they buy these either these cross-gen games or these next-gen games. But more interestingly enough is a fun stat regarding the Madden. Okay. So Madden saw 50% of its sales on the PS5, 32% on PS4. So we have more sales on PS5 than PS4, 13% on Xbox One, and only 7% on Series X. So we have a flip of the stats. We have PS5, the newer console, selling more on the newer shit. Xbox less selling on the newer shit. And also Hades dropped 15 spots. But, you know, it's fine. It's Hades. It's already awesome.
Interesting. It's also down like almost 50% from last year's opening week for Madden. So
I
interesting.
want to throw a question to you guys.
Throw it.
Do you think
No.
people who are
I'm sorry. I thought you meant do I think. No, I usually just say what comes to
you
my
don't
head.
think? Do you believe? Do you think that people who have Game Pass are not buying games because it may be on Game Pass at some point later down the line? Or like with EA, it's EA game Madden. Will it come out to Game Pass a year from now in the EA vault at some point?
Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, or maybe Andy, maybe either one of you know. Because EA Ultimate or Game Pass Ultimate includes the EA Access. Now,
that's what I'm saying.
Does EA Access I can't remember if it includes the newest.
It
It's
doesn't.
discounted,
It does not.
right? You have to buy it at discounted rate.
It's discounted, but they also do like maybe 4 months before the next game comes out, they'll put the current one on.
Old one. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So right
like-
now you get Madden 21,
Like
but you
yeah,
don't get
you
Madden
can,
22.
you
Oh, okay,
probably,
okay.
I think they probably put Madden 21 up in like May or something like that.
And that's physical sales though, right? So
yeah,
that
this is only physical sales. Yeah.
so for all we know, people could just be buying it through the discounted version that they get with their EA
True.
access and
Mhm.
doing that on the Xbox Series X, and that could be a big market that we're not seeing, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I mean, it's an interesting stat for sure. It's always something we've talked about where PlayStation gamers, or like everyone I know at least, the place people that have went to like more of a digital side of things are a lot of people that own the PCs, own the Xboxes, whereas a lot of Sony gamers I know are still going for that physical copy too, right? Like I know a lot of people that bought Ghosts even when they had the disc and they had the upgrade, they still went and they're like, I'm gonna go buy a physical version of the director's cut because it looks nice, right? So the real question is when Death Stranding director's cut comes out to see if there's a huge new surge in sales for the UPS simulator.
Oh, they'll
That's
be.
true. Why must you shit on my beloved game like that, Kory?
I love that game, Andy. I am the one that stands beside you. I think that game is great. I think that people need to understand that it is a great game, and especially since they updated it. If they didn't make me reset my entire 14 hours of gameplay because I forgot to update it midway through whatever month it was, and it didn't carry over my save, and I didn't have to restart the entire 14 hours that I had put into it, I would be playing that game like now.
true.
But now, then as soon as I was ready to jump back into it, they're like, "Oh, here's your director's cut." I'm like, "Well, why start now when I can just play the director's cut?"
Oh boy. Hey,
Mm.
speaking of anything that you said, now that's a segue. We got some teasers happening right now.
Oh yeah.
We do. We have a little tease. Jeff Keighley posted up a little tease.
Mhm.
We are bossing it with our announcements this year, eyeballs.
Mhm.
See you live Wednesday, and it's a rebooting, and it looks like a little Saints Row
Mhm.
art style.
Mhm.
I'm gonna click this thing. Yeah. Oh yeah, it takes you right to Saints Row. It says
Yeah, and then you
rebooting.
have the Saints Row Twitter replying with a bunch of those looky eyeballs as well.
Looky
So
eyeballs.
I think this all but confirms that there's some shit going down in the realm of the Saints Row.
Do
We're
we
gonna have a
know- do we
remake,
know
a
what this thing is?
remastering of the first Saints Row again.
I mean, we've had remakes before. This feels like it might be bigger than just your actual remaster.
Because Jeff
So they're
Keighley's
gonna
teasing it.
Right.
Yeah, so we're gonna redo it then, or is this gonna be a whole? Because I mean, technically, I think where they went with the series, I think they may just be better just to go right from square one again and
I
go
think
back to the.
I
Or is
think
this
so.
a new? Is this a new category? We have remakes, remasters, and now reboots.
There we
Yeah,
go.
this is a
reboots.
reboot.
There we go.
This
Yeah,
is going to
that's what
be
I'm saying.
Saints
So
Row.
reboot.
So it's like
It's just going to be called Saints Row, but it's not going to be a remake of the first one. It's going to be a
it's
reboot
just
of
be
the
a
franchise.
reboot.
what was that? DMC. for
What if it's
example.
online?
Oh, good God.
What if it's just an online, like GTA Online, but
Oh,
just Saints
God.
Row?
Just a Saints Row online,
Yeah.
Dildo Bats Online? Give it to me. I need it.
and then just give us, and then like by season 15, we'll have superpowers. I'm set.
Oh
Dildo
my God.
Bats all the way, baby. I
Oh
need
my
them
God.
Dildo Bats.
Speaking of dildo bats, Andy, Boyfriend Dungeon
Oh my God.
had that backlash, and now we have a response.
This is like a weird story. I don't quite understand people, but it speaks to this game's demographic that makes me cringe because only certain people would find fault in this game when it's so amazing and so great. So, for those of you who aren't in the know, there was some backlash against Boyfriend Dungeon, against a character who is very stalker-ish in the game, and people weren't warned about this beforehand. And they felt they had to reach out to the voice actor and send them hate and death threats on Twitter because
Which Andy, let's make something very clear. We're friends with
oh yes we are
Tanya,
with Tanya, yes.
who is a creator of this video game. Like we know her personally. We've had her on the
Yes.
show.
Yes. This is
And-
about as a wholesome game as you can get.
Yeah.
But what I also learned today, Stephen and Kory, is that so your mom in the game, who you only speak to via your phone,
Your
is
mom.
very encouraging about you and your lifestyle, whether you play as a boy or a girl, and you
Mhm.
have all these boyfriends or a girlfriend, and you go in dungeons. She's very supportive of that. And people who have parents and trauma around those parents, be it abuse or what have you,
Mhm.
were also triggered because seeing a virtual parent be supportive made them think of their own parents' shortcomings.
Okay.
So that was a whole other story that was
like,
wrapped
okay,
in this
obviously,
as well.
like, you know,
Right.
straight white dude with a beard, which I trimmed from the neck, so it's not
No,
quite a neck beard.
I'm
But
telling you.
I'm wondering. No, I
Yes.
get what you're saying.
Right.
But what I'm wondering here is, aren't video games supposed to make you feel? Like,
Yeah,
aren't
that's
those
the whole point.
introspective views on your own life the point of like
Right.
experiencing art?
Right.
I don't know.
I think the most effective art is when it holds up a mirror to you in some way.
Right.
And it's like, look at you. And
Well, it's like
you get to examine yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it gets you in a way. But you want to say, Kory?
Well, I was going to say, like, we've had games before where we've had games that delve into the world of like dealing with depression or suicide and a lot of those things. We've had lots of games too that, and
Hellblade is like the ultimate depression game.
oh yeah, and it blows my mind every time I hear one of these stories where, you know, video games for some people are escape. Some people, video games help people deal with trauma. Video games are actually one of those great things that help therapy.
Yeah.
And to me, yes, they may bring things out. And you know what? I guess the way I would look at that, if I was seeing a video game and playing a video game in any way, shape, and it was able to bring those types of feelings out and make me realize those things, I don't know if I would see it as a negative factor. But no matter what way you look at it, it should never come to the point where you're throwing death threats or, you know, threatening physical harm to anyone. I mean, this is a video game. It's not like I think like I read up on this where the voice actor was just like, look I'm just a voice actor.
Right.
I was paid to read lines. Like,
please leave me alone.
I'm not the one that, like, I'm just here to read lines and do this. It's not their fault for how you feel. It's not their fault for what happened. And it's sad that that's what we've got to, is where that's the first line for people, is to go after the person that said it. And it's like, that you don't need to go to that point. I don't think that's like,
I think
if this game wasn't as big, like imagine if this was just a smaller, like only 200 people saw it.
Right.
Or 300 people, would we see the same response? No, but because it's this, once again, it's
a really
game
well-made game too.
a real well-made game that the big public, it went on Game Pass, so everyone's getting a chance to play it. So, you know, it's sad that because of its popularity now, this is the kind of backlash they're getting.
I want to read a little bit of this because it's very interesting.
Right. She has some really good quotes in here, Tanya,
Yeah.
as well in this long interview, which I will put in the chat for everyone to see.
Yeah. So she says here, fiction can be a great way to explore and work through complex issues and feelings, but only if you're ready to do so. Tanya Short tells Inverse in the email interview. It's of course coming from Inverse. The link is in the chat. Here's a little editorial here. Boyfriend Dungeon initially gained positive attention for letting players opt out of phone calls from their in-game mother, where she encourages the player. Disabling these calls allows those with parent-related trauma to still enjoy the game without having to confront their triggers. But Boyfriend Dungeon faced intense backlash after players encountered Eric, a creepy character who stalks and attempts to emotionally manipulate the player character. Initially, you can exile Eric by ignoring him, but he ultimately becomes one of the game's main villains. It's abundantly clear why Eric's behavior can be triggering, so was this original content warning enough? And the warning says this game includes references to unwanted advances, stalking, and other forms of emotional manipulation. Play with care. The game quote.
That's.
Oh yeah, never mind.
That's really clear from the get-go.
And Doki Doki says it.
That's
Right.
really obvious what they're
Right.
what they're saying there.
Would
That should be enough, I think.
do you think that it has this content warning because it's a video game and video games are inherently thought of to be marketed towards children as toys or like a adolescent like entertainment, and the art style could seem a little bit more whimsical and like target a specific audience? Or do you think it's just something that we're going to as a society? Because I'm trying to remember any time in my life where, like, when I went to a rated R movie, like the most disturbed I think I ever was in a movie, going to see a movie, was The Passion of the Christ. And like seeing the violence and the realism and you know, all that stuff, and the blood and like all that stuff, like that like really freaked me out, and it like made me like physically ill. But I didn't go, hey, I want my money back, but you should put a warning. I mean, it's rated R, right? Like whatever. So like, I'm wondering if there's just it's just a new way, because we're learning more about people, we're learning more about society, we're learning more about social norms, or the taboo is becoming more popular, like for example exposés on priests, for example, like of the, you know, big cover up of abusive priests and like all this stuff. So maybe we're just becoming more aware that there are people out there that suffer and are a part of these pockets of abuse or mental health or whatever. And so we're just trying to there's a dirty word of cater to, so that's like not what I want to say, but it's more like just be aware of. And I'm wondering if that's something that might happen. Let me give you one more example, because maybe this illustrates my point a little bit better. Eminem's one of Eminem's recent albums, it was not this most recent one, it was the one before it, and I think it was called Sounds to Murder To or something like that. And I think that was what it was, and then he did like a sequel to it or whatever. I listened to it, and I couldn't listen to it because there's sounds of stabbing, like knives going through flesh and like gargling of blood and like stuff that I've seen in movies, but for some reason in my ears it made me ill. Like I couldn't listen to that sound of a knife going through flesh. Now obviously it was like stabbing a potato sack. It wasn't like nobody was being murdered,
but it's being fed directly into your earballs.
But the album cover says explicit content.
Right.
I didn't go, why didn't you say there's stabby murder sounds?
Right. And you shouldn't have to.
Right.
Because at what point, because I was raised on like the following contains adult scenes of violence and harsh language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Strong sexual content, whatever.
Right.
Drug use.
You know, I'm all for like a nice blanket statement, kind of a catch-all.
Right.
And the original warning for Boyfriend Dungeon pretty much describes...
It spelled it out.
Right.
Yeah.
We had the same problem before too. Remember when what was it, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the first one ever came, or was it 3, when they had that scene in the airport where the first
4.
mission you you just gunned down everybody, and then they had that giant warning at the beginning where it said, if you want, like, this is going to be a very gruesome scene, you can skip this. It's not going to do any. Yeah, and people still found a way to, like, we're still outraged at it, and it's crazy to me that I don't know what they can do as game developers, to what more warning they can do, unless they're like sitting there beside them and going, okay, I just want to double check if you want to do this.
Unless they spell out every single detail, like this scene will have you gunning down civilians in the airport, you will kill X, Y, and Z number of people, they will cry for help, they will scream bloody murder, you will see 10 quarts of blood. It's like, it's to a certain point. Like, we can't, again, you say the word like placate or whatever, but there has to be some sort of boundary where we have it say, here's what you can expect. I'm not going to break down every single little thing that may bother someone out there, because the second you do that and you have this bullet point that's like a page long, you'll forget someone at the end,
What if?
and then that will keep growing and growing and growing.
Absolutely. What if they did something like, basically saying this has strong adult sexual themes, like as a bullet point, and then if you are a victim of a sex crime, please be warned. Because like even I have a friend of the family that can't watch SVU because she was a victim of a sex crime, a pretty heinous sex crime. So like seeing it in SVU is horrible for her. Like it puts her, it really, for lack of a better term, triggers, which is what they use. Right. That's the term they use, and it has a dirty, it has a connotative meaning now, which it's really just literally means it's the thing that it's like a PTSD. It's like when you would yell bang, and then somebody from Vietnam would like dive on the floor. Like you know what I mean? It's just that
it sends you back to a very specific moment in time in your life.
Right. So.
Which I get that. I totally get that.
Yeah, and I'm okay with being a little bit more sensitive to it, and like, but if we're gonna do that, do it across the board. Like, I don't want to go.
Right, but is the response to send death threats to avoid?
No. We're not condoning that.
Does that get people on your side? Like, do you feel sympathy for those who are sending to a guy trying to work, who was not the person stalking them in the game?
Right. No, I think that's dissociative disorder. I think
it's like we're a lot more flies with honey,
right?
With vinegar situation.
There are a lot of people out there that, because of the anonymity of the internet and the fact that they are a different person, a lot of people are creating two persona. Their online public persona that they show their online world, and then who they are inside. And I think. When you have that disassociation with your with that person that you're being on the internet, the lines get blurred, and you don't realize that shit has consequences, because kids are earlier and earlier and earlier. Like my son, he's 6 years old. He wants to make YouTube videos of him like playing with his toys and like doing educational stuff, showing people vegetables.
Wait till that first dislike comes up, or his first bad comment shows up.
There's a disassociative situation that happens, especially when you're starting these kids out younger and younger in this world. Like we got that kind of hardcore internet at like 11, 12, 13 years old. Yes, our brains were forming, but like we also like we had the scary van conversations already, like the stranger danger situation. We had a strong community off of the internet. Like we had face to face a group of parents that watched us when we were playing outside. Like we had this tight group, and then we were introduced to this world where we already had ground rules in our head. If I'm not going to do this in real life, IRL, why would I do this to somebody I can't see? So we had that kind of pretext. And I think a lot of people that grow up in front of these screens that create a persona that I don't know through a hole in the wall. There are people in our chat right now that I've never met that could be showing me a person that isn't really them. It's just who they feel confident enough to be. And if somebody sits there and they all of a sudden can no longer turn that switch off, they somehow think that death threats are okay because it's in the virtual world. It's not real.
And also you have the moral high ground as well, because you are the victim. So of course it's okay if you lash out at someone because you offended them. Like you made me feel this way.
They did it first, so I can poke back a little bit harder, right?
Right.
Meanwhile, the best thing, like you said, flies with honey. The best thing is to just say, hey, can I suggest a different way of going about this? Because this was a really difficult thing for me to do, and I really like your game. Like, okay, cool.
I like your game.
Yeah. It's easy for them to patch that kind of stuff. It could have been something like, oh, can you add another warning where it says anyone dealing with PTSD or dealing with this type of, like you said, Steve, yourself, right? Like can't watch SVU because of, having those.
You're not gonna, you just figure out an elegant way of saying
it. You could just have this elegant way of saying it. Like, oh, if you suffer from this, and this, we recommend you don't play this game because of these reasons. And it's something where they could easily patch that in to have it added into the beginning of the game and be something that's there for everybody else to have. And that's where if it's caught on quick enough, it can be done. But the problem is now is the internet's so quick about just literally jumping on something, and then before they even have a chance to respond,
Raising
before they have a
pitchforks.
chance,
Right.
yeah, before they have a chance to fix it, before they have a chance to do anything. Like here it is. When I first heard that they were getting death threats, because that's all I saw. All I knew about Boyfriend Dungeon up to that point was Andy was talking about a guy that he was trying to have a romantic relationship with that was like a Nazi type person, and how
it's this Eric character, yeah.
yeah, and that he was mad that he couldn't have a relationship with him. And
I
then so
know.
in my head, I'm going through, okay, they're getting death threats because there's a Nazi person in it. And then I find out about all this other stuff. I'm like, wait a second, what? I'm like, and that's the thing, like as a person that hasn't played it, as a person that doesn't know the developer, as a person that, doesn't even really know a lot about the game, only third-party information, even it starts clouding those people too. And that's the worst part, is that the people that know nothing are now jumping onto the bandwagon of, oh, they're doing this to people without like the person that's maybe has those issues already, the person that is dealing with the same thing the person's dealing with. Now they're coming into this battle going, oh, I'm going to jump on their side of the fence right away because the developer shouldn't do this. And lo and behold, they don't know about the idea that there already is warnings, there already is these types of things. And, it's just, it just blows into this big giant thing.
Yeah, and just to put a period on this, I think the saddest thing from all this is, I want to read a quote from Tanya, the developer and co-director of Boyfriend Dungeon, and that is, "I mostly wanted to make a fun game, so there was no sense in maybe accidentally hurting someone."
Right.
That just seems so sad to me. Like, she, with the best of intentions, to make a fun game where I always say, you go and you fuck swords. That's how I describe this game. It's silly, it's fun, and to find these things that are put in a bigger spot than the actual game itself,
It's sad.
Yeah, it saddens me.
Andy,
I'm still going to play it.
do you
Yes,
mind?
you
Do you
should.
mind if I take us into the hype zone?
You could, and you should.
I really want to, because this is a hype zone for the ages, ladies and gentlemen. Gaming as we know it has been turned on its head.
It always is being turned on its head.
There is a new boss in town. There's been a new acquisition,
Oh boy.
and there's a new boss in town. Okay. No, I don't think you know where we're going with it, because this is huge. In the 80s, there were two titans of gaming.
Mhm.
There was
Atari.
Nintendo and Atari. Ladies and gentlemen, Atari is under new management.
Oh, good God.
According
Who
to
did it?
according to the rapper Soulja Boy,
Here we go.
Oh boy.
he claims that he owns Atari. But here's the thing, there's legal issues here, because Atari, the company he claims to own, does not agree.
Soldier Boy.
Yes. No, they do not agree that Soulja Boy owns Atari.
Okay.
Here's a story here. Okay. This Wednesday, Soulja Boy hopped onto his Instagram live feed with all Atari clothing on and stated that he had inked a deal with Atari and that he was now the de facto owner of the company. Here's this quote. "They signed me to a deal at Atari." Again, that means they acquired you, but we're not going to split hairs. "Big shout out to Atari, the whole staff. I'm about to revamp the company. We're going to take Atari to the next level. I am now the owner of Atari. I own the video game company Atari. They was real proud of me and what I did with the Soulja Boy game console. You know what I'm saying? I blew, no question mark, by the way. I blew Soulja Boy game up. We about to sell the company for like, what was it, 100? I think I'm going to get 140 million. I'm finally getting 140 million from Soulja Boy game. So Atari reached out and I just signed a deal with Atari. I signed 2 deals with Atari. I'm the owner. The first rapper to own a video game company. We gonna take it to the next level, just like we did with Soulja Boy game.
Wasn't Soldier Boy game made in China and it was found out to be an emulator version of the
Yes.
game console that was
Yes.
copyrighted and
Yes.
literally got shut down so quick?
Yes.
You
Relax.
don't understand what true genius is, Kory.
Yes. Here
True
we go.
enough.
As you might expect, Atari's Twitter account debunked the claim almost instantly, pointing out that Wade Rosen is still the CEO of the firm.
What a Nimrod.
Atari's tweet is, "We know that CEO of Atari is a dream job, but that honor belongs to Wade Rosen." There's an update on this story, so the saga continues. Following Atari's denial that Soulja Boy is now in charge of the famous video game brand, the rapper has reacted angrily online with lots of bad language and slurs.
What, the truth?
You
The
have been
truth
warned.
offended him?
Claiming that he has a contract which backs up his side of the story. He even brandishes the contract on camera during his expletive-filled rant. However, as often is the case with Soulja Boy, all is not what it seems.
All is a delusion.
I'm keeping it together here. One eagle-eyed Twitter user spotted something significant in the contract text. It says Atari tokens on the contract that he screenshotted. Not Atari shares in the company. Atari tokens are their cryptocurrency. They are Atari Bitcoin.
Nice.
It is a Bitcoin competitor. So it was a promo deal that they wanted to pay with their own crypto. They paid him, or attempted to pay him for a promotion deal with their own cryptocurrency. It has nothing to do with shares or ownership. So while we almost had a new player in the game, as it were,
Good.
we now have to deal with this Rosen character who, let's face it, doesn't know shit about games. Soulja Boy's been to the promised land. He released the Soulja Boy game to critical claim. Choosing my words very, very carefully. Critical claim. There were many people that wrote about it. In many more ways than just one. Soulja Boy, now that you own Atari, which we've proven that you do, you own Atari now. The Soulja Boy you sold for $140 million, which is incredible. I think, I'm just throwing this out there. Just throwing this out there. You might want to look to Japan. Because I hear that Sega might be for sale. And if you can get the Sega Soulja Boy console out there, do you understand what I'm saying here? The next gen 26 teraflop Sega console with your Sonics and your Dead, what is it called? Dead Rising?
Sure. Yeah, we'll do that.
And your
That's Capcom, I think.
yeah,
but
that's Capcom.
Yeah.
Hold
Doesn't
on.
matter.
Wait, there was one. I had it in the tip of my tongue, and then it just
Altered
vanished.
Beasts.
Yeah.
Altered Beasts.
Wise Fomio Guave. We can do it all with Soulja Boy's genius. There's nothing more genius than when you are when you believe you are bamboozled as the new owner of Atari. There's nothing more professional and more telling of your leadership skills than an expletive-ridden tirade on social media.
I think you should go try to do a deal with the KFC console.
Can you just think about this? E3.
Soulja Boy KFC.
Hold on.
I don't want to think anymore.
E3 2022. Shoo. Microsoft. Shoo. Nintendo. Shoo. PlayStation. You got Shuhei Yoshida on the stage, or whatever that other guy name is, Jim Ryan, whatever the hell his stupid ass name is, on the stage. You got Mr. Nintendo on the stage. Bowser, Doug Bowser, that's his name. There we go. We got there.
Yeah, you
All
did
right.
it.
You got Phil on stage, and you got fucking Soulja Boy up there rocking the new silver and red and black brand, the Atari. Think about the content. That would be a beautiful, beautiful E3 moment.
I think that's when the entire industry packs up and goes home and looks back.
If there is a way to
they
kill
just-
E3, that's it.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the show. Kory, thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure
Oh,
having you.
you're
here.
welcome. It was fun.
Why don't you tell everybody how they could follow you and all of your exploits, and how they could? When are you gonna find out about your record?
Hopefully, I mean, we'll see, because so far we're seeing if they can just verify us through the Twitch without us trying to break every video into 90 parts and send it to them that way. Because that'll be fun. But hopefully within the next 3 months we should know. But you guys can always find me in the Dual Screens group page. I'm always there. I might not talk that much, but that's just because, to contrary belief, even though I put myself on the internet for 145 hours, I'm not much of a social media butterfly. But you can always find me there. Also keep in touch just with the Dual Screens. Like Steve was saying, our plan is to continue to do these 4 Dual Screens. I hope to work.
We're gonna figure out why that is soon. But continue.
He's under our spell.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we'll just keep on doing it. I know there's a lot of things that me and Andy have talked about doing as well, so who knows what's going to happen, but just follow Dual Screens for more. If not, you can follow my Twitter at the Grounded Gamer, no EDD, which once again, it had been so long since I had touched it, they closed it, but it seems to be getting a lot of talk back now since I did the world record, so
Nice.
I reopened it. But yeah, you can always catch me there, and keep in touch.
Awesome.
Alrighty.
Folks, if you want to follow us on social media, we are at dual_screens on Twitter. You can go to dualscreens.com, find all of our content there. YouTube.com/dualscreens.tv, Twitch.tv/dualscreensstreams. I am at Batchild27. Andy is at Pants Guy. And that's going to do it. That's it. We did it. We're out of here. We're out of here. Andy, is there anything you want to tell the kids before we go?
I love you all, and stay tuned for awesome stuff.
Hells yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's it, folks. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.
Okay.
Remember to hit the subscribe button. Tell your friends about the shows. And as always, please, and I mean please, be excellent to each other.